As we reported, the House of Representatives tonight passed that huge stimulus bill. The opponents say it is filled with unnecessary and irresponsible spending. In a moment, I'll be talking with one of the few Democrats to oppose the legislation, Congressman Gene Taylor of Mississippi. But first, I'm joined by Congressman Mike Pence of Indiana. He chairs the Republican conference in the House of Representatives. Congressman, good of you to be here.
You bet, Lou.
Not a single Republican voted for this legislation.
Well, that's right. Every single Republican in the House of Representatives decided to stand with the American people and reject this so-called stimulus bill. I mean, Lou, this was a partisan bill, exclusively written by the Democratic leadership in the House. Democrats, as I told the President yesterday, Democrat leadership completely ignored the President's call for the best ideas from both sides of the aisle, and they brought a bill to the floor. And I'm proud of the House Republicans who took a stand for our alternative, which would be not a massive wish list of liberal spending, but tax relief for working families, small businesses, and family farms.
Let me show our viewers what we're talking about.
Yeah.
647 pages as of the last count.
Right.
I have been saying, and I want you to correct me just straight up if you think I'm wrong, but I've said that I doubt there's a handful of Republicans or Democrats who've read this. How wrong am I?
Well, I don't know a handful. I know that House Republicans carefully unpacked this bill, and we're just horrified by what we saw. I mean, you've cited it repeatedly on this show with great accuracy. $400 million for climate research. How's that going to create jobs in Indiana, Lou? $50 million for the National Endowment for the Arts. With all due respect, that's not going to take people from the unemployment line back into the factory line. So, Republicans took a stand here. We know how Congress can act to get the economy moving again, and it's not by, passing a massive catch-all wish list of liberal spending priorities with token tax relief. It's about passing a bill that aggressively gives the American people, families, and small businesses more of their money, and that's what Republicans took a stand for tonight.
I appreciate the Republican partisan position, Congressman, that tax cuts are a great idea. We, despite huge tax cuts, have watched over the past 8 years, under the Bush administration, a Republican ownership of both Congress and the White House, watch manufacturing in this country be destroyed. We're not hearing a discussion in this Congress from either party the importance of reforming our trade practices, because without that reform, in my humble opinion, it won't matter how much money is thrown at this issue. We're not hearing a discussion of how this country is going to subsidize and incentivize manufacturing and bring back good middle-class jobs to the mainstream of America. Well, the Republicans are going to have to answer more than cut taxes as to those issues.
Well, but come on, Lou, for real.
I'm for real, believe me.
I know you're for real. That's why we love you. Look, America has the second highest corporate tax rate in the world. We got companies fleeing this country, relocating overseas. What we've got to do is look at the whole picture. But look, you know me. I was the first one to be critical of Republicans when they didn't watch the bottom line, when they were growing government. And Speaker Pelosi, and I respect her greatly, but Speaker Pelosi said today they were taking the country in a new direction. And I said respectfully on the floor, I thought we were just trying to pass a bill to create jobs. The Democrats have all the rest of this session of Congress to work on their priorities,
Congressman Pence,
and these ideas, but this is about creating jobs.
I think you make a great point, and I think you're also correct. I should point out that the Congressman is absolutely correct, talking about he was also bucking his own party and president on these very same issues. The unfortunate part is, in my judgment, we're not seeing a discussion of the real issues, which frankly, I expected more of the White House. I certainly expected more of both parties in Congress, but I'm eternally hopeful, I guess, is one of my many failings.
You know, the President came by this week. We had a frank and serious discussion. We appreciate President Obama's bipartisan spirit, and we welcome more.
And we appreciate you being with us. Thank you very much, Congressman Pence.